welcome back to Any Cafe. Hey guys, I resurrected from my grave finally because ReZero is here with season 4 and I'm really sorry. I know that I'm making this video after 4 episodes are already released, but what can I say? I went to coma after finishing the final episode of One Punch Man. I woke up just after the nurse whispered in my ears, ReZero is airing. So now I am back and you are going to hear this annoying voice every week from now on. Let me rephrase that. Not that you are going to, but you have to. If you don't, then Emilia will be angry too. Okay, so let's fucking start with the discussion. The first episode begins from where season 3 left us and ties all the loose ends. Regulus is dead, Sirius is captured, half the fucking population of Priscilla is turned into this black creature by Capella and then frozen by Emilia's power, and other half got eaten by Gluttonous, including Julius. The whole city is in ruins. Julius got only his name eaten, which is different from Crush, who got her memories eaten, so everyone except herself remembers her. And then Rem, who got both eaten. You know that the situation is messed up when even Reinhardt doesn't recall who you are. Although Subaru is a little resistant to Glutton's authority as he still remembers Rem and getting his ass beaten by Julius. So to get out of this mess, Anastasia suggested that they should go visit Shala the Sage. ReZero has previously mentioned a sage but never by that name. Also looking at the opening, there is a new female character in there, so my guess is she is the sage, and surprisingly, she's not a lolly. And if we sit here and start counting lollies in ReZero, then ReZero has plenty of them. Well, 300 years ago, the sage, the dragon, and the sword saint are the ones who defeated Satella, so we can assume that she is very powerful. Also, she got great curves. Anastasia also implies that the sage is a keeper of knowledge who foresees everything, so we can assume she is very knowledgeable. Although listening to that description kinda reminds me of Echidna, but unfortunately she is not here. I wonder where she is right now, as according to the novels, she is resurrected and walking around the world as Ryusu, and maybe making people drink her bodily fluids. Now let's talk about Anastasia. Everyone noticed that in the previous season she was acting a little different, also using magic on Capella, which was very odd. But now we finally had the answers. Turns out she is being possessed by artificial spirit, which is originally her fox-looking scarf with the same name as the sexiest witch ever. Back in the day, Echidna created a lot of artificial spirits, Beatrice being one of them, and now we know that this fox, Echidna, is also one of her experiments. In the previous season, one of Capella's demand was an artificial spirit. At that time, we all thought that she's talking about Byakko, but she could have also meant Fox Echidna. So Subaru is finally owning up his name, Lollymancer, as he's being surrounded by lollies everywhere, especially Beatrice. But it is kinda funny how he completely denied Julius's accusation of being sus around lollies and then immediately recruits Millie in his team. Now theoretically, Millie should be a huge help in the desert, although she is not that huge. Even though we all know how that turned out in episode 2, but we will talk about that in a bit. Anyway, this Pleiades Watchtower where we are visiting is where they sealed the Witch of Envy in the past, so this is the closest we will ever be with the Witch of Envy this time. The 3 heroes in the past couldn't kill her, so they sealed her and made the Sage's tower, and apparently even Reinhardt couldn't reach this tower when he tried to. He walked as long as he could but couldn't get closer to the tower. He described this as some invisible barrier is protecting it, which makes it impossible for anyone to get close to it. Even though Reinhardt is the descendant of one of the heroes who sealed Satella here, even he failed to reach it. Garfield reuniting with his mom is really one of the best scenes of this whole episode. I literally teared up when he started crying and his mom hugged him. By the way, this is the only time we are going to see Garfield in this arc, as he is not part of the main team. Now I just want to talk about the opening. By the way, they foreshadowed a lot of things. There are just too many fucking spoilers and I don't want to spoil you guys.
Huh? おやおや、お腹空いたのかい?
But I just want to say that the opening was fucking awesome. This episode was definitely a setup and literally the only episode that doesn't try to traumatize you, but it was good. The real trauma begins from episode 2 though, and my thoughts about episode 2 are the same as Subaru's take, which was being eaten by the damn rabbits, and it left us with questions more than answers, like who is this bitch and how dare she shoot our Byakko. where did they go at the end of the episode, and so on. This episode was a fucking 10 out of 10, and the main highlight for others than Emilia's cake was Subaru's head exploding, which was the scariest jump scare I ever witnessed in an anime. Like, I always threw my phone out the window. Normally, Subaru suffers a lot before each death, but this death was so sudden. This episode was so brutal with all the gore, and the creepy sound effect from season 1 makes it a lot more eerie. You can just imagine how strong the enemies are going to be in this season, as just one shot from this bitch was enough to break Emilia's ice barrier. And again, it's unfucking forgivable how she shot our Biago so ruthlessly. Also, it's really amazing how much stronger Subaru and Beatrice's combination has become, as her shot couldn't penetrate their new skill EMT, or short for Emilia. This is a new spell they formulated that nullifies mana in its vicinity. Now let's just talk about cut contents for a minute. ReZero is typically very good about cut contents than other animes, where they mostly cut out long dialogues or scenes that are not that important to the plot. But this episode did cut out one of my favorite scenes from the anime, which was really not that important to the main story, but that could have kept it. Usually we don't get to see Subaru use his authority that much, as it is not very compatible with his body, which takes a toll on his body every time he uses it. But this scene could have been a very impactful one, as we don't get to see him use it very often. So in this episode, when Subaru was dying next to Beatrice, his final thoughts were he couldn't stand to see her cry, but in his condition he couldn't move his body, so instead he used his unseen hand to wipe away her tears. I genuinely love that scene in the novel, but what's done is done. Either way, even without this scene, that death scene was very impactful and emotional, like how after the bullet hits Byako, she just faded away in the air. I was fucking bawling my eyes out during this scene, although I was a bit disappointed that they cut it. Also, everyone knows how Subaru takes damage every time he uses his authority, but this time that wasn't the case. In the novel, it was described as the witch factor was glad to be used. I'm really not sure what Tappe wanted to convey from that. Anyway, the animation in this episode was breathtaking. The shots from Emilia's igloo was gorgeous. Also, I like how they made Julius shine in this episode with his top-notch elite sword skills, and I like how he still manifests his contacts with the spirits, even though they forgot him. Meili was pretty badass in this episode too, even though her powers doesn't work that well with the bears in the novel. They were described as slowly eaten by the flowers growing on them. Also, let's just talk about this mysterious figure shooting our homies from the tower for a second. So far we know that the sage lives in this tower, and we don't know if this bitch is the only resident of this tower, cause if this is actually the sage, then it could be a huge problem, as we only want to have a peaceful conversation with the sage. We are not supposed to fight her. Also, the most dangerous thing about this place is the witch's miasma, which is originally corrupt mana that slowly poisons your heart and mind, and this is supposedly emanating from the body of Witch of Envy, who is sealed in there. I believe all the witches used to have miasma, like how people used to get sick or start vomiting in the presence of Echidna, but still, Satila's miasma was a lot stronger than that, or it could be because of Subaru, cause we all know how horny Satila is for Subaru, and Subaru's never been this close to the Witch of Envy before. So there's a chance that at this point, Satila is just waiting for Subaru in her grave with a condom right now. It could be a possibility. Anyway, amazing episode, and episode 3 analysis will drop shortly too, and from now on, there will be regular videos in my channel, I promise. Thank you so much for watching till now. Please subscribe and leave a like, or you are not welcome to Satila's grave. A shout out to my editor Rishu, and Subaru's dick will be in Satila's pussy. Bye.